the Phenomenal Hughes community. Are you ready to become a bankable CEO? Well, join us on the pathway to prosperity. I'm Ashley Scott, your host of Mocha Money Monday. Good morning and welcome to Mocha Money Monday. I'm Ashley Scott, your host, and this is the Phenomenal Hughes Global Network, where we're bringing you the most phenomenal women of hue to talk about how you can think about business in new ways, how you can scale up, how you can prepare, prosper, or if you just want to pivot from what you're doing in your current career. We've got some exciting experts who have insights that you can use on your journey. So I'm excited today to introduce to you all Miss Alexis Harris. She's known as Consulting Harris. With her consulting firm, she has made some major waves across industries, but I happen to know her from her work in the farming space, from her work in the legislative space for advocating for hemp legislation, and just for overall being an amazing woman who is just so supportive of other people out here putting in the work. So I'm excited to introduce you all again to Alexis Harris. Good morning, Alexis.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
How are you guys doing today?
Oh, good. So first off, I would love for you to talk just a little bit more about your background. You've been doing consulting for over 15 years, probably longer. Talk about your work and what you're doing and why you're passionate about it with our audience this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on your show this morning. Again, my name is Alexis Harris. I am the owner and CEO of Harris and Associates LLC, also known as Consulting Harris. We specialize in strategic partnerships, planning, and positioning, three things that are extremely important when you're operating in various communities. I'm very passionate because I don't like to just do stuff. I like to do stuff with meaning and make sure that it's meaningful for other people. And so when we talk about corporate partnerships and corporate interventions in our community and gentrification, we have to realize there's a responsibility on us as well to make sure that we're represented, that our needs are outlined, identified, and that we're able to get those needs met, not individually, but collectively by working with individuals like yourself, the Georgia Hemp Association, the Georgia Women in Agriculture Association, Troop Farms. So those are some of our top clients that we've been working with for over 8 years in the state of Georgia specifically. But we also focus on building new programs throughout communities across the nation. My ultimate goal is to make the most scalable models for programs as it relates to community interventions and impact.
Now, when you talk about community interventions and impact, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this idea of hemp, being that Georgia Hemp Association is one of your major clients, and even the National Women in Agriculture Association or Georgia Women in Agriculture Association. There's a lot of opportunity. We do a lot of work when we talk about real estate development here on the show a lot. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate developer and investor, and I'm super intrigued by what hemp can do when we think about the sustainability of it as a product, when we think about how quickly it can generate and how it is able to do carbon sequestering when we plant it, and it can help heal the world essentially in so many ways, including our body, but that's a whole nother story, right? So I want to really talk a little bit more about thinking about hemp and thinking about how we can start using it in our community development efforts and the impact that it could potentially make both, like there's so much, like financially, socially, climate change. Like, I just really want to have that conversation with you today.
Well, I'm excited too, because I've been having it, to your point, not 15 years for hemp specifically, but around 10 to 12 years, I personally have been talking about hemp My
Mm-hmm.
dad, everybody knows him as the hemp man. He's extremely passionate about it. Shout out to Coach
Yeah.
Harris of the Georgia Hemp Association. He was the very first lobbyist in the state for hemp that we know about. If anybody feels any different, please tell them to pull their records. But Coach is the longest hemp lobbyist in the state of Georgia and advocated for a long time for the plant. So when in 2018, when the Farm Bill passed, we thought everything would just be like a green light, like, because it makes sense. The education's there. There's people who've been advocating for sustainability for well over 30 years. So it's kind of like an assumption that everything would just kind of flow, and that is not the case. When
Right.
it comes to sustainability, we're talking about a lot of layers, not only for the face value of what sustainability is, but why would they corporatize the initiative of sustainability in communities? And so when we're working in the sustainability space, it's very important to make sure we keep our goals realistic. And I always ask my clients, what does that look like in real time? So
Mm-hmm.
we could have all of these grand ideas for whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
if the population or the community or policy does not align with those goals that we have, there will be a delay in your plans. I bring this up because, like I said, we've been advocating for years and years, and sometimes people will come from other industries, specifically the healthcare industry, mostly because they're kind of, big brains. They're like, we can figure this out. It's just one, two, three. And
Right.
3 years in, they're like, I'm tired. Like, it's not one, two, three. It's not what I thought it was. And it's because compliance is a huge factor in the sustainability of sustainable programs, meaning if the
Mm-hmm.
policymakers do not understand what biogenic means, if they think hemp is crack, which is something we literally went through at the Capitol, them saying hemp was like crack. If these are the thoughts that policymakers have, it's important for us to, one, make sure we create programs that address psychological reinforcements, meaning getting them to change how they think about the plant. The secondary action of that is giving them hands-on experiences with the plant, which I think you could speak to. We went and harvested hemp together in the
Mm-hmm.
state of Georgia. It's not too many people who could say they did that. So once we get the hands-on experience, it's the phase that we're at now, which is building projects, building teams, and ensuring that we're able to get a um, proof of concept model in all areas. Because even with hemp, the biogenic material being accepted for building material,
Mm-hmm.
how many contractors do you know who know how to build with hemp?
I don't know any.
How many hemp building companies have you seen in Georgia specifically?
Mm-mm.
How many stores, when you go in Home Depot, do you see hemp herd?
No. No.
So there's a lot of factors, to get to a certain point. There are clear answers to some of those questions I just answered, but then there's beyond face value why you don't see hemp herd in Home Depot,
Right.
because there's a lack of processing across the nation. Say, well, let's just get some more machines. Well, we've banned hemp for
Mm.
hundreds of years when China did not. China has all of the machinery. So now we have to figure out how to be strategic
Mm.
in retrofitting. I think that's what the farmers call it, retrofitting existing machinery to do the
Mm.
things that we needed to do. So now we're looking for inventors because they have to find innovation for machinery. Now
Right.
we have to source machines because they're limited. We have to figure out how to build certain things to get up to capacity. Yeah, we might have machines available, but can it manage the output that we need for commercial building? So this is what I mean by making sure we look at the psychological things that need to happen before we get to the physicality of building certain things in a hemp material or biogenic specifically. And I like focusing on biogenic material because it's not just hemp. It's canaf, it's bamboo, it's cottonseed. Somebody told me that the other day, just yesterday.
Mm.
Um, Cottonseed. So biogenic materials is more than just hemp.
Okay.
It's plant-based. And the more we lean into that, the healthier our homes could be, the healthier our lives could be, the healthier the soil could be, the healthier the world could be.
So I love this idea of a proof of concept. So when we're thinking about, because somebody's got to be pioneers and innovators, how do we collaborate? What are some of the strategic ways we should be thinking about getting these proof of concepts done? And how do we monetize it? Because at the end of the day, we don't just have the ability, even as a community, we're not like corporations in most cases. We might have some family offices, we might have some nonprofit organizations, and we might have some key capitalists who are like, hey, I'm willing to invest in this because I see the vision. But how do we create private public partnerships and relationships with people who want to see this idea move forward? Because when I think about a proof of concept, I know that it's going to take many characters and many interconnected organizations to make something like this happen. So when you think about some of maybe the projects you're working on, who are some of your ideal partners, and what are the types of collaborations we should be thinking about when we think about this work?
So I'm a little biased to answer your initial question. Who should you be working with? The Georgia Hemp Association. That's who you should be working with in the Georgia Women in Ag, because they have the understanding of the vision and not just what needs to happen short term for outcome. There is a complete vision that Georgia Hemp Association has made for the state, and that's really to be the top southeastern city or state to produce certain industrial hemp materials, whether it's biogenic materials for home building or retrofitting, for the homes. So that's one thing. The second thing is, when you're building a project right now, my sweet spot are universities, because it's their job to ensure that the community and the next level of like educated professionals are getting innovative experiences. So if they're behind the curve, that means so are our communities. And so the universities are my top pick for partnerships as well as corporations. I have a term called parallel transitioning, which means there's space for everybody in the hemp and cannabis industry in their existing positions, meaning you as a real estate developer and an agent, there are people who came to Georgia and there are open dispensaries now. If their agent was not, well versed about hemp or cannabis and their job in real estate, they wouldn't have been able to get those locations for their clients, because they wouldn't understand that they need to be away from a school, that they need to be, have 100,000 square feet to get to a certain, you see what I mean? So that's just one example. The same for policymakers. How I said people would think hemp was crack. Well, we walked around the Capitol and passed out live plants. Some of them have never seen live hemp plants prior to us going and showing them that. I've also mixed CBD lotion at the Capitol. I've done CBD tastings at the Capitol, putting it right there on their food and say, do you feel like you took crack? And I always make a joke. I said, one, they say no. Two, I said, now we know you're willing to try crack if it was. That's just a joke. But hemp is nothing like cracking it. The more that we give them opportunities to put their hands on it, you'll be able to build stronger partnerships and really empowering people to do what they do now. We don't need you to come in the hemp and cannabis industry and do some majestic thing. If that was the case, Willie Nelson and them would have been able to do a lot of majestic things. They've been advocating for a long time for cannabis specifically, but when it comes to hemp, as Dr. Bronner, he's had the longest running hemp soap. There's stuff he had to go through just because he had hemp in his soap. So when we're talking about partnerships, make sure you're partnering with people who understand the vision. That means they're not looking for a quick return, because there is nothing quick on this return in this industry, but it will be very rewarding in the end. The second thing is make sure that you're thinking beyond your operations. A lot of people in Georgia focused on CBD when it was popular, and I would do webinars with Bruce Perlwin, who owned Hemp Inc.
Okay.
You know Hemp Inc.?
I've heard of it.
Okay, so Hemp Inc. was the first university dedicated to teaching about hemp in the United States. They had money, they had investors, they had a location, they even had the only decortication machine in the United States. And it still faced challenges because of what we talked about as far as not having a holistic team. meaning policymakers, farmers, and business people on your team. Don't just choose one area. Make sure you have as many stakeholder representations within your ecosystem as possible, starting with agencies that already exist. So outside of the university system, I would say the USDA, FSA, meaning Farm Service Agency, and maybe the the USDA has a federal department for hemp.
Okay.
And you could find it underneath their marketing services website for the USDA.
Okay. So listen, we have had some amazing conversation today and some serious resources for you to start your hemp research journey when it comes to thinking about all of these different biogenic materials that Alexis talked about, to really kind of go down the rabbit trail, do some research. When you think about what the future holds, Alexis, and what the world could be, when we dream of what the world could be, where do you see the place for hemp and for biogenetic materials? Like, where could we be in the next 10 years if we begin to lean into what sustainability could look like with these universities, with your Georgia Hemp Association? You said you guys have something laid out already for the plan. So if the plan was not met with resistance, what would the world look like in the next 10, maybe 15 years, according to these partnerships you've already gotten into place and these potential projects that are on the table?
My spirit screamed healthier and happier. That's the short of it, saying the world will be healthier and happier. When I went to the NOCO, Colorado Hemp Expo as a speaker there was a presenter who talked about how much poison is around us. And you guys always hear my dad talk about PFAS. Has he talked to you about PFAS?
Yeah, he does.
So those are forever plastics. If you think about it, certain hair has plastic. Your toothbrush has plastic. If you wear polyester, it vibrates lower than a dead person on the frequency chart. Your clothes can. The paint is poisonous. You're drinking out of plastic. You're microwaving stuff. So it's all of these poisonous things that we don't think about, let alone our food that you're getting from Walmart and Kroger. We don't know the farmers. We don't know where this food is coming from, yet we're consuming these things. So for our partnerships that we've built, we've made sure that they are going into a system of actions. Our current actions are focused on biogenic materials, so we could do the retrofitting of homes and education regionally about what hemp could do. The secondary part of that will be workforce development, to my point of, we could talk about building homes with hemp all day, but if we don't have professionals who know how to build with hemp, like, yeah, I could go learn how to build a brick, it's fun, but I don't think that translates to I'm a professional home builder, which is why we need them to parallel transition into this space, use our knowledge and partnership to then tell us, okay, this is the best way to do my professional job with this product. So that's the collaboration portion of it. And lastly, making sure that we're able to get things done. Australia has a hemp home. Right now, Michigan has a hemp home. Texas has a hemp home. This is the mecca of our people. Me and Coach want to hurry up and get something built here, so then we could say we were able to do this with our mind power and with the resources we've already built. And lastly, I did secure the support of a major university. I won't open it up right now, say, but of a major university who's very excited to scale the education for biogenic materials specifically. So then there will be students and community members who have the opportunity to learn about the materials and what they can do with it next once they get that training.
All right. This is awesome. So how do we stay connected with you? Now, the answer is yes. Are you a part of the Phenomenal Hues Global Network?
Is that a question, Ashley? Like I said, I picked hemp with you and Darnetta. Oh my God, she's amazing. So that's not a question. Yes.
Yes, you are. So listen, how do people get connected with you to be able to get connected with the Georgia Hemp Association, your clients at the Georgia Women in the Agricultural Association? How do we get involved in what I truly do believe is going to be the next wave as far as billionaires, millionaires, and us being a part of leading that transformation? How do we get connected?
I will give you guys my direct number, but I feel like I have to say this. Usually, when I'm on platforms like this, I tell them to reach out to you because you are the source of connection. And in our community, we need to start respecting the source of connection because there's a knowledge base that you would have about me, working with me over all of these years to know how to maximize the connection from anybody I got, from this platform. So it only makes sense that you will reach out to Ashley first, get on the line about me, say what you want to do, and she will make sure she connect us. Also become a member of the Georgia Hemp Association. There's georgiahempassociation.org. He is very close to me as far as working on certain projects. Also become a member of the Georgia Women in Agriculture Association. And you'll see me all the time. We're doing weekly events, or, we're always in these ag streets. That's what we call it. And lastly, I would give you my website, but I'm updating it. It's full transparency. So if you just really, really need to get in contact with me right now, make sure you say you saw me on Mocha Money Mondays. You met me through Ashley, and then call 678-768-8726. I'll also put it in the chat. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on another Mocha Money Monday. Alexis Harris, you are truly a phenomenal woman, and we are so grateful that we were able to have this insightful conversation with you today. And so until next time, you guys remember we're here helping you to prepare, to pivot, and to prosper. Whatever it is you are hoping to do, we are here as your coaches, as your consultants to get you to the next level. Mocha Money Monday is designed to introduce you to some amazing women and men who can help you on your entrepreneurship journey. So check us out every Monday and come on out to some of our events. Visit phenomenalhues.com. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Welcome to the Phenomenal Hues community. Are you ready to become a bankable CEO? Well, join us on the pathway to prosperity. I'm Ashley Scott, your host of Mocha Money Monday.